Imagine living with pain that never stops. Not the kind that comes and goes. The kind that greets you every morning before you even open your eyes. The kind that sits with you through every meal, every conversation, every attempt at sleep. For millions of people around the world, this is not imagination. This is daily life. Chronic pain changes everything. It steals your energy. It affects your mood. It makes simple tasks feel impossible. And if you have been living with it for months or years, you have probably tried everything. Medications, therapies, lifestyle changes. Some help a little. Some do not help at all. And you start to wonder if this is just how life will be from now on. But here is something you might not have considered. What if your body has a built-in system that controls how much pain you feel? Think of it like a volume dial. When the dial is turned up, every sensation feels intense, sharp, overwhelming. When the dial is turned down, the same sensation feels more manageable, more distant, easier to live with. The question is, can we turn that dial down? And could something as simple as not eating be one way to do it? That sounds strange, right? What does food have to do with pain? As it turns out, quite a lot. That is exactly what we are going to explore today. Not with promises or miracle claims, just science. What actually happens in your body when you fast and how it might affect the way you experience pain. Before we go further, a quick note. This is educational content, not medical advice. If you are dealing with chronic pain, please work with your doctor. What we are discussing here is the science behind a possibility, not a prescription. Now let us start with something fundamental, the connection between inflammation and pain. When you are in pain for a long time, something changes inside your body. Your immune system stays on alert. It keeps producing chemicals that cause inflammation. And here is the problem. Inflammation and pain are deeply connected. They feed each other in a cycle that can be very hard to break. Think about what happens when you sprain your ankle. It swells up, turns red, feels hot and painful. That is inflammation doing its job, helping your body heal. Inflammation is not bad by itself. It is actually necessary for healing. But what happens when inflammation does not turn off? When it keeps going for weeks, months, years? Those inflammatory chemicals keep irritating your nerves. They make your pain sensors more sensitive. Small things that should not hurt start to hurt. Things that should hurt a little start to hurt a lot. Your pain dial gets turned up and it stays there. This is what happens in many chronic pain conditions: arthritis, fibromyalgia, chronic back pain. The inflammation becomes constant and so does the pain. Now here is where fasting enters the picture. When you stop eating for a period of time, your body reduces the production of these inflammatory chemicals. Scientists have measured this in multiple studies. The levels go down, not just a little bit, but significantly. Less inflammation means your nerves are less irritated. Less irritation means the pain signals are not as intense. The dial starts to turn down. Recently, researchers at Cambridge University discovered something interesting. When people fasted for 24 hours, their blood showed higher levels of a specific compound called arachidonic acid. This compound has the ability to block a key inflammation trigger in the body called the NLRP3 inflammasome. It is like finding a switch that turns down the inflammation alarm. The researchers were surprised. They expected fasting to reduce inflammation, but they did not expect to find this specific mechanism. It shows that our bodies have built-in ways to control inflammation that we are only beginning to understand. Does this mean fasting will cure your pain? No. But it suggests that what you eat or do not eat can influence how much inflammation your body produces. And inflammation directly affects how much pain you feel. That is the first piece of the puzzle. But there is more. Now let us talk about fuel, specifically what your brain uses for energy. Your brain is hungry. It uses about 20% of your total energy, even though it only weighs about 2% of your body. Normally, that energy comes from glucose, which comes from the food you eat. Every time you eat carbohydrates, your body breaks them down into glucose, and your brain uses that glucose to function. But when you stop eating, your body does not just shut down. It switches to a backup system. This is something humans have been doing for thousands of years. Our ancestors did not have access to food all the time. The body had to develop a way to keep the brain running even when food was scarce. Here is what happens. Your liver starts converting fat into something called ketones. These ketones travel through your bloodstream and cross into your brain. Your brain can use them for energy just like it uses glucose. In some ways, ketones are actually a cleaner, more efficient fuel source. But here is the interesting part. Ketones do not just provide energy, they seem to have a calming effect on nerve cells. Chronic pain often involves nerves that are overexcited. They fire signals constantly, even when there is no real damage happening. It is like a car alarm that will not stop even though no one is touching the car. The alarm is broken. It keeps going off for no reason. Ketones appear to help quiet these overexcited nerves. Scientists notice this connection because of epilepsy research. Epilepsy involves brain cells that fire uncontrollably, causing seizures. Doctors have used low-carb, high-fat diets to control seizures for almost 100 years. These diets put the body in a state where it produces ketones. Researchers started asking if ketones can calm overexcited brain cells in epilepsy. Can they do the same for overexcited pain nerves? The early research suggests yes, they might. When your body switches to burning fat and producing ketones, it may help turn down the intensity of pain signals. This does not happen instantly. It takes time for your body to make the switch, usually at least 12 to 24 hours of not eating. But for people who have tried fasting and reported feeling less pain, this could be part of the explanation. Their brains were running on different fuel, and that fuel had a calming effect. Here is something that might surprise you even more. Your body makes its own painkillers, not metaphorically, literally. Your brain produces chemicals that work just like morphine. They are called endorphins, which actually means morphine from within. Endo means inside. Morphin refers to morphine. Your body makes its own morphine. You have probably heard of endorphins in the context of exercise. That good feeling after a long run. That sense of euphoria some people call a runner's high. That is endorphins. But endorphins do more than make you feel good. They actively reduce pain by blocking pain signals in your nervous system. They attach to the same receptors that painkillers like morphine attach to. And endorphins are not the only ones. Your body also produces chemicals similar to cannabis. They are called endocannabinoids. Your body makes its own cannabis-like substances. These also play a role in pain regulation, mood, and relaxation. On top of that, there is serotonin. You might know serotonin as the happiness chemical, but it also plays a major role in how your body processes pain. Research has shown that fasting can increase your brain's access to these natural painkillers. When you do not eat for a period of time, your body ramps up production of endorphins, endocannabinoids, and serotonin. It is as if your body recognizes that food is not available and responds by activating its internal comfort systems. This might explain something that fasters often report. After the initial discomfort of hunger passes, many people feel calm, even slightly euphoric. They feel more focused, more clear-headed. Some describe it as peaceful. They are not imagining it. There are real chemical changes happening in their brains. Their bodies have opened up the internal pharmacy. Your body has its own pharmacy. Fasting might be one way to unlock it. Now let us talk about something that might seem unrelated at first. Your gut. Your digestive system is not just a tube that processes food. It is far more complex than that. It contains about 500 million nerve cells. That is more than your spinal cord. It produces chemicals that affect your brain. It communicates constantly with your central nervous system through a major nerve called the vagus nerve. Scientists sometimes call the gut the second brain, and they are not exaggerating. What happens in your gut does not stay in your gut. It influences your mood, your energy, your immune system, and yes, how you perceive pain. Your gut is also home to trillions of bacteria. Trillions. These bacteria are not just passengers along for the ride. They actively produce chemicals that enter your bloodstream and affect your brain. They influence inflammation levels throughout your body. They affect how your immune system behaves. When your gut bacteria are out of balance, which can happen from poor diet, stress, or illness, it can increase inflammation throughout your body. It can make your nervous system more sensitive. It can turn up your pain dial without you even knowing why. When you fast, you give your digestive system a rest. Think about it. Your gut works constantly to break down food, absorb nutrients, and manage the trillions of bacteria living inside it. When you stop eating, you give it a break from all that work. Research shows that fasting can change the composition of your gut bacteria in beneficial ways. It can reduce inflammation in your digestive tract. It can improve the communication between your gut and your brain. Have you ever noticed that when you are stressed, your stomach hurts? Or when you have digestive problems, your mood suffers and everything feels harder? That is the gut-brain connection in action. They are linked. Improving your gut health can influence how you experience pain in other parts of your body. There is one more piece to this puzzle, and it might be the most important one. Chronic pain is not just about damaged tissue. It is not just about inflammation or nerve sensitivity. Over time, your brain actually changes. The pathways that process pain signals become stronger, more efficient, more sensitive. Your brain learns to feel pain. This is a real phenomenon that scientists have observed. The more pain signals your brain receives, the better it gets at receiving them. The pathways become like well-worn trails, easy to travel, hard to avoid. This is why people sometimes continue to hurt long after an injury has healed. The original problem is gone, the tissue has repaired, but the brain has been rewired to expect pain. It keeps producing pain signals even when there is no reason for them. The dial got turned up and it stayed up. The good news is that your brain can change. It can form new pathways. It can weaken old ones. This ability is called neuroplasticity. Your brain is not fixed. It is constantly adapting based on what it experiences. If your brain can learn to feel more pain in theory, it can also learn to feel less. Fasting stimulates the production of a substance called BDNF. Think of BDNF as fertilizer for your brain cells. It helps them grow, adapt, and form new connections. Higher BDNF levels mean your brain is more flexible, more capable of change, more plastic. Now, to be honest with you, the science here is complex. BDNF plays many roles in the body, and its relationship with pain is not straightforward. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it does not, depending on the situation. Research is still ongoing, but what we do know is that fasting affects your brain's ability to change. And that opens up the possibility of retraining how your brain processes pain. Not overnight, Not easily, but possibly. For many years, when patients with chronic pain asked their doctors about fasting, the answer was usually the same. Do not do it. Your body is in pain. It needs energy to heal. Eat well and rest. It made sense. It seemed logical. But recently, this view is starting to shift. Researchers at leading universities around the world, Cambridge, Stanford, University of Florida, began asking a different question. If constant eating keeps the body in one state, what happens when we pause? What systems activate when we stop the constant flow of food? The answers they found were surprising. Not eating for a period of time does not weaken the body the way we assumed. Instead, it activates mechanisms that constant eating never allows to happen. Reduced inflammation, natural painkiller production, digestive rest, brain changes. This is not folk wisdom or internet trends anymore. This is serious science being published in respected medical journals. Researchers are taking it seriously. Some are even beginning to study fasting as a potential addition to chronic pain treatment programs. It does not mean fasting is a cure for everything, but it does mean we have another tool to explore. A tool that mainstream medicine used to overlook. A tool that might help some people turn down their pain dial. Now, an important reality check. Fasting is not for everyone. It has real effects on your body, and those effects are not always positive for every person. If you fall into any of these categories, talk to your doctor before trying it. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, if you have a history of eating disorders, if you have diabetes, especially if you use insulin, if you take medications that need to be taken with food, if you are elderly or underweight, if you have kidney disease or other chronic conditions, and even if you are healthy, listen to your body. If you feel severely dizzy and it does not pass, stop. If your heart races abnormally, stop. If you feel confused or disoriented, stop. That is your body telling you something is wrong. Do not ignore it. Do not push through it. Fasting is a tool, not a competition, to see who can endure the longest. Most importantly, this video is not telling you that you should fast to reduce pain. It is helping you understand the mechanisms. Why some people report less pain when they fast. What science says is happening in their bodies. Whether to try it or not is your decision together with your doctor. So what is the answer to our question, can fasting turn down your pain dial? Science says possibly. There are real biological mechanisms at work. Reduced inflammation, changed brain fuel, activated natural painkillers, improved gut health, potential brain rewiring. But possibly is not. Certainly. Every body is different. Chronic pain is complicated. It has many causes and many factors. What works for one person may not work for another. Perhaps the most important takeaway is this. You have more dials and switches than you realize. Your body is not a fixed machine that you have no control over. It can change, adapt, and in some cases, heal itself. You have more influence over your biology than you might think. Fasting is just one way to explore that. One tool among many. One possibility worth understanding. We started this video with a simple question. Can fasting turn down your pain dial? And we have seen that the answer is more interesting than a simple yes or no. Your body has multiple systems that influence how you experience pain, inflammation, brain fuel, natural painkillers, gut health, brain wiring. Fasting appears to affect all of them. That does not mean it will work for everyone. That does not mean it is easy. But it does mean there is more to explore, more to learn about, more possibility than many people realize. I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed your pain changing when you did not eat? Or do you have experiences with chronic pain that you want to share? Leave a comment below. I read them. And if you know someone who is struggling with chronic pain, maybe this video gives them a new perspective. Share it if you found it helpful. Subscribe to discover more about the surprising things your body can do.